and the x-rays picked up an abnormality in the bone. So they took x-rays of his entire body, and after about a year of testing back and forth, they realized that he had this rare bone disease, cranial diaphyseal dysplasia.
You think you know Rocky Dennis?
Hey man, we got a present for you. Open the gates. They open the gates, wheel in this horse, and say, wow.
The kid from Mask whose story inspired millions? Think again. Before she died, his mom revealed hidden truths that never made the movie. What she said changes everything you thought you knew about Rocky and their unbreakable bond. The silence before the truth. For many years, people thought they already knew the story of Rocky Dennis, the boy with the rare bone condition whose courage inspired millions, and even a Hollywood movie.
No, I just get scared that something's gonna happen to you, and I don't know.
Well, don't. Just lay off.
His real name was Roy Lee Rocky Dennis, and he was born on December 4th, 1961, in Glendora, California. When he was a baby, nothing seemed unusual. His mother, Florence Rusty Tullis, adored him and raised him with energy and love. But when Rocky was almost 2 years old, he began to have ear and sinus infections that did not go away.
He started getting a lot of ear infections and sinus infections and sore throats. So when he was 2.5.
During one operation to remove his tonsils, doctors took x-rays and found something that made them pause. His skull bones were growing too thick. More tests were done, and finally, the doctors gave a diagnosis that would change their lives forever. They told Rusty that Rocky had a very rare condition called craniodiaphyseal dysplasia. This disease causes extra bone to grow on the skull and face, making the head shape larger and pressing on the eyes, ears, and brain. There were only a few cases known in the world, and none had lived long. Doctors told Rusty that her son might lose his vision and hearing and probably would not live past the age of 7. Rusty refused to accept that future. She decided Rocky would live his life fully, no matter how long or short it was. Rocky became known for his sense of humor and strong will. As Rocky grew older, his condition made daily life harder. His vision blurred, his hearing weakened, and he suffered from painful headaches. But even through all this, he kept his light spirit. Rusty's parenting style was bold and loving. She was not a quiet mother. She lived loudly, surrounded by biker friends, music, and laughter. Their house was messy but full of warmth. To her, life was about love, not perfection. She once said she wanted Rocky to live as normal as possible, even if it meant breaking some rules. A mother's defiance.
It's the real-life story of the love between a mother and son.
When doctors gave Rusty the diagnosis, they told her something no parent ever wants to hear.
I think my first reaction was shock, and then I went into action. No, I don't think I felt...
They said her little boy's skull was thickening in a way that could crush his brain. They explained that craniodiaphyseal dysplasia had no cure, and that the few children known to have it had died very young. But Rusty, a fiery woman who never followed rules easily, refused to let fear control her. She told the doctors they could not decide how long her son would live. She believed Rocky had the right to live fully, no matter what his condition was. Instead of hiding him or keeping him home, Rusty decided to send Rocky to a regular public school when he was 6. Teachers and school staff were nervous. They thought other children might stare, tease, or be afraid. Some doctors even suggested homeschooling or special education because they feared his looks would cause too much distraction. Rusty disagreed completely. She said her son's mind worked just as well as anyone's, and that he deserved the same chances. That decision became one of the most important of her life. School was not easy at first. Rocky had trouble seeing the blackboard and hearing the teacher. He had to repeat first grade, but he refused to give up. Soon, his classmates began to see his humor and kindness instead of his illness. He liked to tell jokes, and his laughter filled the classroom.
And that's how the Trojan War began. Something like that.
Over time, Rocky became one of the top students in his class. His grades were strong, but his courage impressed people even more. He never wanted pity, only friendship and fairness. Rusty taught him to face cruelty with confidence. When people stared or whispered, she told him, if they laugh, laugh with them. This simple advice helped Rocky grow into a boy who never hid his face. He learned to joke about his condition before others could. Once, when someone seemed uncomfortable, Rocky said, "If my face bothers you, you can look away, but I can't." That moment showed how he turned pain into power. Outside of school, Rocky joined summer camps and loved being around kids who accepted him. At a camp for children with disabilities, he won awards like Friendliest, Most Good-Natured, and Best Buddy. He made friends easily because he was kind and funny. Rusty's parenting wasn't perfect, but it was full of love. She had worked as a go-go dancer and waitress, doing whatever job she could to support her son after separating from his father. Her fearless choices gave Rocky a chance to experience the world and to teach others what true courage looked like. Life at home, chaos, love, and strength. Rocky Dennis's home was far from ordinary. Florence Rusty Tullis lived a loud, free-spirited life that many adults called reckless. Music often blared through the house. Friends and neighbors came and went, and life rarely followed a strict schedule. Yet for Rocky, this chaos was not frightening. It was a safe space filled with love and acceptance. Rusty's home became his sanctuary, a place where he could laugh, joke, and feel fully alive despite the challenges his rare disease brought. Rusty surrounded Rocky with people who cared. She was part of a biker community in Southern California. The bikers were not just casual friends. They acted like an extended family, offering support, advice, and protection. When Rocky's father left in 1971, Rusty became the sole caregiver. Even though she faced legal, financial, and personal struggles, she prioritized her son's happiness and dignity. She refused to let the opinions of neighbors, teachers, or medical staff define how Rocky lived. Her parenting style was unconventional. Doctors and school officials sometimes suggested keeping Rocky apart from other children or placing him in special education. Rusty rejected these ideas. She believed in his intelligence, his spirit, and his right to experience a normal childhood. Rusty showed him that even a boy with a rare and visible condition could live boldly. Life at home was also filled with ordinary joys. Rusty encouraged Rocky to rest when headaches struck, to enjoy music, to read, and to play games with friends. She emphasized strength and happiness over pity. Rocky learned that laughter and creativity could be as powerful as medicine. Despite his painful symptoms, he remained cheerful and resilient, finding joy in small moments and meaningful friendships. By creating a home where Rocky could thrive, Rusty helped shape his courage, his humor, and his ability to face adversity. Challenges, humor, and friendship. For Rocky Dennis, school was both a challenge and an opportunity. His condition made his face look different, and his vision was impaired. At first, reading, writing, and participating in class were difficult. Some teachers worried he might struggle academically, while other students stared or whispered because of his unusual appearance. Despite these obstacles, Rocky refused to let his differences define him. He learned to face cruelty and curiosity with humor, turning awkward situations into moments of connection. Rusty's guidance was key. She encouraged Rocky to use laughter as a shield and a bridge. When classmates stared or made jokes, Rocky often responded with his own clever remarks, which made others laugh and helped them see him as a normal, smart, and kind boy. His humor became a signature trait, one that allowed him to make friends, diffuse tension, and show his resilience. Over time, Rocky began to succeed academically. He often ranked high in his class and asked thoughtful questions that impressed teachers. Despite setbacks caused by headaches or vision problems, he remained engaged and curious. Rusty insisted that he attend public school rather than being isolated in special classes. Outside the classroom, Rocky enjoyed activities like playing games, riding bikes, and attending summer camps. At camps for children with special needs, he earned awards such as Friendliest, Best Buddy, and Most Good-Natured. These honors reflected his kind nature and the strong bonds he formed with peers. Even with the attention his appearance drew, Rocky's courage and good heart earned him genuine friendships.
Didn't matter. Paris saw her and flipped out because she was just so beautiful. She had a perfect body and this face.
Despite the social challenges, Rocky did experience moments of loneliness. There were times when other children left him out of playground games or birthday parties. Rusty worked hard to remind him that these experiences did not define his worth. At home, she created a loving and supportive environment that allowed him to feel confident, valued, and empowered. Through her encouragement, Rocky learned to take pride in himself and his abilities. By the time Rocky reached his teenage years, he had gained a reputation among teachers and peers as a clever, witty, and courageous boy. His experiences at school reinforced the lessons he had learned at home, that strength comes from inside, that humor can heal, and that love and support can help anyone face life's challenges. Teenage years and health decline. As Rocky Dennis entered his teenage years, the effects of his condition became more pronounced. The rare bone disorder caused his skull to thicken further, putting increasing pressure on his brain, eyes, and ears. Headaches became more frequent and intense, and his vision and hearing worsened. Simple daily activities like reading or walking long distances sometimes became difficult. Rusty stayed by his side every step of the way. She made sure their home remained lively and supportive, filling it with music, laughter, and friends. Even when Rocky felt fatigued or in pain, she encouraged him to continue pursuing the things he loved. At school, Rocky continued to participate actively whenever he could. Though his physical abilities declined, his mind stayed sharp. He asked questions, offered insight in class discussions, and kept up his studies. Teachers often marveled at his intelligence and positive attitude, given the daily struggles he faced. His classmates continued to respond well to his humor and kindness, and he maintained close friendships with those who saw past his appearance. Outside school, Rocky still enjoyed his favorite activities, although he sometimes needed more rest. He played games, spent time with friends, and pursued hobbies that brought him happiness. Rusty adapted to his needs, allowing him to rest when necessary while encouraging him to stay active and engaged. Despite his resilience, the physical decline was unavoidable. The thickening of his skull put increasing pressure on his brain.
Medium circumference, 67 centimeters.
67 centimeters.
And doctors warned that this would eventually lead to severe complications. Yet Rocky faced each day with courage, humor, and a determination to make every moment count. As Rocky's health worsened, the bond between mother and son deepened. She refused to let his illness define his entire life, insisting that he remain engaged with the world around him. By the time Rocky reached 16, the progression of his condition became more severe. Fatigue, headaches, and vision problems made daily life increasingly challenging. Rocky Dennis passed away on October 4, 1978, at the age of 16. His death marked the end of a life that, though short, had touched the hearts of many. In his passing, he left a legacy not only of courage and humor, but also of a story that would inspire Hollywood, medical research, and countless individuals. Rusty's devotion throughout his life highlighted the power of love, care, and unwavering support in facing extraordinary challenges. Hollywood's Mask and the Legend. In 1985, Hollywood told the story of Rocky Dennis in the film Mask. Eric Stoltz played Rocky, and Cher portrayed his mother Rusty. The movie focused on their love, courage, and humor, turning Rocky into a symbol of hope for millions. Cher's performance showed Rusty's fierce, protective, and sometimes chaotic devotion. The film also introduced craniodiaphyseal dysplasia, a rare bone disorder few knew about. While Mask captured Rocky's spirit, it simplified many real challenges. Rocky faced frequent headaches, failing eyesight, fatigue, and moments of isolation. Rusty's chaotic lifestyle and legal troubles were mostly omitted to create a more uplifting story. Hollywood presented a heroic mother and brave son overcoming obstacles, but the daily struggles and pain Rocky endured were left out. Despite these omissions, the movie had a strong impact. Audiences learned about his rare disorder, his courage, and the love shared with his mother. Mask made Rocky a symbol of resilience and sparked conversations about acceptance, disability, and the importance of compassion. However, the film's narrative gave the impression that his life was only defined by bravery and joy, when the truth was more complex. Rocky did not always die in his mother's arms, and Rusty faced personal and legal challenges unseen on screen. Rusty expressed gratitude that the movie inspired so many, but wanted people to know the real boy behind the legend. Rocky was not only brave and humorous, he was a teenager who lived with fear, frustration, and the challenges of a rare disorder. Behind the Hollywood story was a real family navigating extraordinary circumstances, showing that courage and love exist even amid struggle. Rusty's final truth and Rocky's legacy. Before her death in 2006, Florence "Rusty" Tullis finally spoke openly about her son, Rocky Dennis, revealing details that changed the public's understanding of his life.
And the x-rays picked up an abnormality in the bone. So they took x-rays of his entire body, and they found that there was something wrong. They weren't sure what.
For years, the story of Rocky had been told mainly through the movie, Mask, and media accounts that emphasized courage, love, and inspiration. Rusty admitted that while the film captured the spirit of their bond, it did not show the full truth. One key point she clarified was that Rocky did not die in her arms, as the movie depicted. At the time of his passing, Rusty was away handling legal matters, and she learned of his death over the telephone. This surprised many who had grown up believing the movie's comforting version. Rusty also revealed what happened to Rocky's body. Instead of a traditional funeral, his remains were donated to the University of California, Los Angeles Genetics Research Center. His skull, medical records, and scans were used for scientific research to better understand craniodiaphyseal dysplasia. Scientists studied his condition to learn more about its effects on bone growth, the nervous system, and potential treatments.
And what they said was it was a very rare disease, there were only 7 in medical history. It was a recessive genetic disorder.
After the research was completed, his remains were cremated. By sharing this truth, Rusty showed that Rocky's life continued to help others even after his death. Through these revelations, Rusty reminded the public that Rocky was more than a movie character. He was a real teenager with joys, fears, struggles, and achievements. The boy in the film who faced adversity with humor was based on Rocky, but his real life included moments of frustration, loneliness, and pain. Rusty also reflected on her role as a mother, explaining how she managed her own challenges while giving Rocky as full a life as possible. Her defiance against medical expectations and societal judgment highlighted the strength of a mother's love. Rocky Dennis remains a symbol of courage, love, and resilience. Rusty's honesty allows people to see the real boy behind the legend, showing both the inspiring myth and the meaningful reality of living with a rare disorder. Rocky's impact on medical research and public awareness. Rocky Dennis's life, though short, left a remarkable impact on medical research and public understanding of rare diseases. After his death, his body, skull, scans, and medical records were donated to the University of California, Los Angeles, allowing scientists to study craniodiaphyseal dysplasia in unprecedented detail. This rare bone disorder, sometimes called Lionitis, because of how it thickens the skull, had only a few known cases before Rocky. Researchers examined how the excessive bone growth affected the skull, brain, and nervous system, improving understanding of the disease's progression and possible treatments. His case became a reference for doctors, educators, and medical journals, helping guide care for future patients. Beyond medicine, Rocky's story raised awareness of the struggles faced by children with rare conditions.
You got this routine better than we do.
Oh, wait a minute, hold on a second.
Oh, Rocky, you look great.
I want to get my hair...
You look fine, Rocky.
Before the movie Mask and his mother with Florence Rusty Tullis, few people outside California knew about craniodiaphyseal dysplasia. Rusty's openness showed families that children with rare diseases could live full, meaningful lives.
Who bravely raises her little son Rocky, a little boy with a rare disease that eventually distorts his face into a cruel mask of deformity.
Doctors also learned the importance of treating the whole person, not just the illness, and of supporting families emotionally as well as medically. Rocky's life also changed societal views of courage and resilience. Despite constant pain, medical challenges, and social judgment, he embraced life with humor, kindness, and determination. The movie simplified these lessons, but Rusty's accounts gave a more realistic view. Bravery is not the absence of fear or suffering, but facing life fully, even when the odds are against you. The combination of Hollywood storytelling and real-life experiences created a layered legacy. Mask introduced Rocky to the world, and Rusty's interviews reminded people that real life is more complex than films show. His story continues to inspire doctors, families, and communities, teaching that courage, compassion, humor, and knowledge are vital in living with rare conditions. Rusty's later years and reflections on Rocky. After Rocky Dennis's passing in 1978, Rusty devoted much of her life to preserving his memory and sharing the truth about his experiences. She navigated decades of grief while also addressing how Hollywood, the media, and the public portrayed her son. Rusty acknowledged that the 1985 film Mask had introduced Rocky's courage and humor to a wide audience, but she also knew it simplified his life.
That is not portrayed in the movie Mask is Rusty's first son and Rocky's.
The movie depicted an emotional ending, showing Rocky dying in his mother's arms. In reality, Rusty was not present at that moment. She had been away handling legal matters and learned of his death by phone. This fact mattered deeply to her because it reflected how life does not always match comforting stories. In subsequent years, Rusty gave interviews that revealed the fuller, more complex story of Rocky's life. She discussed the private struggles he faced, headaches, fatigue, and moments of frustration, which the film did not show. She emphasized that Rocky was courageous but human, experiencing fear, sadness, and loneliness. Her reflections helped audiences understand that resilience is living fully despite obstacles. Rusty challenged the simplified hero narrative and reminded people that inspiring individuals are multidimensional. Rusty also explained her decision to donate Rocky's body to the University of California, Los Angeles for scientific research. His skull, medical records, and scans were studied to better understand craniodiaphyseal dysplasia, a condition so rare that only a few cases had been documented. This choice ensured that Rocky's life continued to contribute to medical knowledge. In her later years, Rusty highlighted lessons from Rocky's life. She wanted people to see the real boy, funny, intelligent, and determined, rather than only the symbol Hollywood created. She reflected on parenting a child with a rare disorder, showing that love, adaptability, and support can help children thrive. Rusty's insights continue to teach courage, resilience, and empathy, ensuring that Rocky's legacy endures. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.